All righty, Sylvia, we're live, ready to go.
Okay. Well, then we will go ahead and get started. And we'll call this meeting to order. It's 6:31. And let's go through and do our roll call, starting with Josue.
Present.
Mary.
Here.
Larry.
Here.
Larry. Is Larry here?
He's muted.
Jeannie?
Here.
Okay. Annette?
Here.
Rochelle?
I'm here.
Jatara? She's absent and with notice. And Tatiana? She's absent and she contacted John. So we have a quorum tonight and we will move on. So both with notice. Okay, so let's go to the agenda. And could I get someone to make a motion?
I'll motion to approve the agenda for the Waukegan Public Library Board of Trustees on June 17th, 2020.
Here.
And second? Jatara? Absent and with notice. And
Anybody running
Tatiana?
YouTube in the background?
We have a feedback and she contacted John. So we have a quorum tonight and we will move on. Both with notice. Okay, so let's go to the agenda. Okay, so we need a second.
I'll second.
Larry, okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Should we do a roll call, John? Yes?
You have to do a roll call now with the enactment of.
Josue?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Annette?
Here.
Michelle?
Rochelle? Hi.
So we have 5 and we do have a quorum. Okay. I'm sorry. We have 5 and it's approved. Okay, so moving right on to the minutes.
I'll motion to approve the minutes of the Waukegan Public Library Board of Trustees meeting on February 19th, 2020, as revised.
Can we get a second?
I second that.
There's Annette. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Josue? Okay.
Aye.
Josue?
Roll call.
Larry?
Aye.
Aye.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Annette?
Aye.
Rochelle?
Aye.
Okay, and it's approved. So going on to, was that the February one? That
Yes.
Okay, so then we need a motion for the May minutes.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the May meeting with any necessary corrections.
Can we get a second?
I'll second that.
Okay,
I think you're doing that. You're making that noise, Larry.
okay. So, Josue,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Larry. Okay, I see you. Jeannie,
Yes.
Annette,
Yes.
Rochelle.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Okay, so now let's move on into, let's see where I'm at here. The financial report. Larry, do you have anything to say about that?
Larry, you're muted.
You're muted.
Somebody muted him.
In order to unmute, you have to hover around the bottom of your screen and the little microphone is red. Click it and it'll turn white.
John, is there anything you can do to help him?
Unfortunately, the only person who can unmute themselves is the person themselves. So, Larry, if you hover around the bottom of your screen with your pointer, there will pop up a white bar. One gives you the option to turn off the microphone. One is to leave the call. Another is to turn off the camera. So the one with the microphone, just click that with your left mouse button, and that'll unmute you.
Larry, you still muted? Jean, you were in the meeting. Also, Josue, would you like to make any comments?
I think, is Anna on the call? Could Anna give an update on the financial?
Larry, you still muted?
Anna?
Jean, you were in the meeting. Also,
Um,
Josue.
I was in the meeting and everything that I asked questions on, she was able to give answers that determined that those services needed to be paid for.
Yeah, and Anna mentioned that because of the pandemic and the library being closed, a lot of the expenses are just payroll or benefits and employee-related expenses.
Could we still ask questions even though Anna's not here?
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay, I'm looking at page 1. First Midwest City, there's a payment of $4,217 for furniture and fixtures. Just wondering where the furniture is, or
It looks like
According to
Anna's on the
Anna,
call now.
is she there? She's still muted. Rachel, she said that those were for bins that they're using to quarantine the books when they come back in. They have to quarantine them for 5 days,
okay.
and they were on special from whoever they get their supplies from, so they got them at a discount rate and they bought them.
Good deal, thanks. Page 2, underneath New York Life Insurance Company, it just says optional insurance for about $200. What is optional insurance?
I believe that's additional life insurance. And Deb, if you can speak to that, Deb would know.
You're muted.
Deb, you're muted.
Larry,
still
you're
muted,
back.
Deb.
Larry, can you get unmuted?
John, I can answer the question on the optional insurance.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Susan.
Optional insurance is for employees if they'd like to sign up for it. The money comes out of their payroll checks, and we have to pay the bill then to reimburse the company. So it's not an expense from the library. It comes directly out of payroll.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Page 4, underneath card member services, Birds Midwest. Actually, it's continuation from page 3. It says other in the amount of $5,462.22. What would the other be?
Census grant funds, 58520 or census connotation.
Thank you. I think that was it. Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so Larry, you're backing up. Is there anything else?
Yeah, it sounds like can you hear me now?
We definitely can hear you now.
Okay. God almighty.
This is
So
Deb.
okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
Deb.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So we've gone through while I was away here. We've gone through most of the financial report, have we? Have we looked at everything?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, well, I will. Yeah, we had a quorum at our finance meeting, and we looked at everything over as we have here at this meeting, and everything looked appropriate within order. And so, at our meeting, we motioned and approved to forward to you. And so, with that in mind, I would move that we accept the May 2020 report on the expenditures, the report here on the monthly board check detail for May of 2020 for the Waukegan Public Library. I would motion to accept that, to move in second.
This is Jean. I second that.
Okay,
Very good.
so let's go through. And Josue,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Aye.
Jeannie,
Yes.
Annette,
Aye.
Michelle.
Aye.
Okay, motion
Hey,
carried.
Sylvia, when you asked Larry and Mary for their votes, you should mention their last name because they keep talking at the same time.
Mary sounds like Larry, and Larry sounds like Mary on this thing. I don't know why.
Okay.
So,
All right, John, we're ready for you. Let's see. We got the disbursement. So John, you're up. And you're muted.
All right, so thank you very much, everyone, for the opportunity. I shared with the staff and with the board yesterday our reopening plan and Plan A. Plan A being a bit of a timeline of how this is going to go for the first month up until the 4th of July, and then the reopening plan is of a comprehensive guide on all the things to do, makes clear all the expectations of washing hands and mask wearing and so forth, and gives us a phased entry, just like the state, just like the city, just puts us, it basically was copied almost verbatim, a lot of the things from the city's plan in terms of what to do, no meetings that are too close, social distancing is the #1 priority, of course, masks at all times. So it basically just gives an outline, and it's a 4-page document, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but basically the gist is, and I know that people are hot to trot to get to the materials, our curbside will be ready by the 4th of July. I have all confidence in our staff to be able to present, and currently customer service is starting to reach out to people who had holds on the shelf to arrange for pickup. So we're going to trial it with a smaller group of people and then open it up on July 6th to the public to be able to place holds, pick up their holds, and return materials at the same time. So it's a trial of the curbside process. We are working together as a leadership team to provide more clarity as things come up. For example, if someone were to test positive for COVID-19 or something of that nature, those are all part of the HR process, and Deb has sent out separate guidance for including a checklist on when we enter the building to have our temperatures taken each time we enter. And then there's a series of questions we have to answer, and so everyone is doing that now, and we'll do that moving forward. We have weekly leadership meetings every Monday morning at 10:15. So we've been talking about this for the past 8-10 weeks, and we're ready to start moving. Excuse me. The secondary thing I wanted to mention, I have 2 things on the agenda, is the Census 2020 engagement. Our census engagement specialists, Elizabeth and Shirley, have done an outstanding job keeping the word out, even though a majority of our grant was meant to be done in terms of tutorials in the building and helping people with computers. They've pivoted and provided a lot of marketing and promotion in the community, not only through our Facebook page and our website, but virtual programs. Elizabeth and Manny from the Education Literacy Services Department did a Spanish language, why is it important for your health, to fill out the census. And it was well attended and well received. Great, some of the videos that have been posted by our staff on our website. Nonetheless, they did it in Spanish, and Gail and Shirley are going to do it focusing on the African American community. So it's coming, and it's still going. The census has been extended till October 31st. So that gives us some additional time. Unfortunately, our grant does come to an end. We received $72,500 total for our census engagement efforts. Those things have paid for social media boosts on our Facebook page, engaging the community in creative ways. So we've given out the tote bags, the blue tote bags, which you might have seen, to food pantries. We've delivered boxes. Instead of us, we order them and have them delivered to the location. We had flyers printed by a local printing company that went into the new township newsletter, taxi tickets. So everybody had a boost of reminder to fill out the census. At this time, 10 years ago, we are 3 or 4 percentage points higher than we were at the end of the census process. And so we're making strides. I'm not going to say it's a 100% guarantee that any of this effort will amount to but 2 more percentage points. But when you're talking about federal dollars flowing into Waukegan, it's important to pursue this work. We also were able to put information into the city water bills, and also masks are being printed currently through American Apparel. I think that's the company, American Apparel, out on Sunset. They're going to make masks with the census logo. And we're printing up 100 of those, and we may end up giving those away and printing 100 more. They were meant for our staff, but we have an opportunity to distribute them, so hopefully they'll be ready in time. And so just, again, trying to keep the business local, trying to get the word out. We had a very successful bus tails and shelters program right when they told us to stay at home, of course. So instead of doing a lot of the advertising on the billboards as we had anticipated, and that was a big chunk of the spending from the census grant monies, we didn't do the billboards, and we instead printed things to deliver to the community, deliverables. So the grant does come to an end at the end of June. This is the state's fiscal year ends on June 30th. And so we have a few last minute things to account for, but otherwise our grant money is $72,500 in total. Plus I think there's another $5,000 floating out there from Rails. It was an action grant that basically was meant for advertising, and so it was used exactly for that. I wanted to point out a few things in the email that I just recently sent, and I apologize for the delay, but at the end of the day, this stuff is important. The building has received improvements. Our bookmobile room has been renovated. The finishing touches are being applied currently, and so that meant that we had, a 6x6 square cube of carpet sitting in the garage gathering dust. They utilized the leftover carpet from our renovation to carpet the floor in the bookmobile room and cover up that asbestos tile successfully and without having to mitigate any kind of putting plastic up and all that stuff when you're dealing with asbestos. They did it well. And for a song, it was going to be about $7,000 to carpet the room with new carpet, and we got it for $2,200. So plus the materials that Chuck and Francisco have invested in, things like drywall, paint, very minimal amounts of investment in the physical building. But at the end of the day, staff labor being a big chunk because the team, not only maintenance, custodial, and safety, descended upon the room to help scrap the old stuff out. So it really looks nice. It's going to be a room that people want to work in, not a dusty old room with spiders and rust. And so it was needed. Last but certainly not least, in terms of the building, we're going to have a duct cleaning on the 29th of June that will last until the 3rd of July. And so no one is allowed in the building at that time because they use chemicals to clean our ducts. And so basically sucks all the air out of the room. That will be happening at the cost of about $7,700. The library, Friends of the Library materials have been moved. They were stored in study rooms A and B. Meeting rooms A and B they've been divested of all those materials down to the Bradbury room, and also freeing up the 11 ranges of shelves on the teen corner to make it into a true teen corner and give the reference team and the customer service team projects in terms of making that a true teen corner. So when we do reopen to the public, we'll have a very nice corner that has the young adult collection right there and maybe some graffiti on the walls. Graffiti's cool. Anything reasonable, of course, nothing crazy. I wouldn't suggest that strangers graffiti our walls, but so the Friends of the Library are currently living in the Bradbury room, not the people, but the books. Their materials are eventually, when we do reopen to the public, they could even have sales in that room, and we will not be able to program in the Bradbury room for probably anywhere between another 6 months to another year, depending on how the phases come and go. Right now, we're not allowed to have more than 50 people in the building due to the phase 4 in the state of Illinois. So we will have that room ready when we can move the materials back, as we had perhaps discussed back in January, making the inventory space a friend space. But for now, we're going to convert that into a customer service space and put our staff behind glass so they don't have to be out in the middle of the floor working. Just a few of the changes. Most of the staff do continue to work from home, and teams are gradually returning to the building. Namely, the admin team has been coming and going for the past couple months to do essential business. Additionally, the maintenance team has been in to do the work I described prior. And the customer service and inventory teams who cannot do physical work from home have come into the building to do projects and start working. So again, as our goal proceeds to safely allow staff back into the building to do work, it's maximizing the amount of work that people can do from home. And last but certainly not least, we have some new electronic resources going live. And that's another thing. These were budgeted for and are covered in our budget, but I wanted to point out, yes, I will answer in just a second, Josue. Access video on demand, our Hoopla has been very popular, so it will be mostly educational video for adults and kids. Ancestry Library Edition, which is a genealogical research tool. Also includes home access for the time being during COVID-19. Tumble Books, which is ebooks for kids. We're expanding our News Sun access. We are removing a 90-day embargo that we previously had to wait 90 days till the newspapers became live and patrons could search them. And so that's only $732 more. It's worth it to remove the embargo. And last but certainly not least, the Capstone electronic resource, which includes Pebble Go ebooks for kids. So a lot of good resources coming online to help maximize the amount of deliverables through our website and through our digital services. Josue, you had a question.
Oh, hold on to that for a minute, Josue. Larry, would you go in and talk about the Illinois Public Library per capita grant that we received? Can you hear me?
He's muted.
John, can you hear me?
I can, and I can speak to that. We received our $111,000+ from the Secretary of State Jesse White. The letter got lost in the mail, so to speak, but we are due to be awarded our fiscal 2020 per capita grant, the amount of $111,347.50. Illinois per capita and equalization aid grants help ensure public libraries have the resources to address community needs, and that's what this grant goes toward. Now, it is relatively restrictive, and we cannot use it for personnel, but we can use it to offset cost. 2021, yes, I apologize, Gail, correct. Fiscal 21. This can be used for materials, and historically our library had offset the cost of our materials for years with this grant. It can also be applied toward programming and any number of things, that deliverables. Technology, we could do more technology with it. It's at the discretion of the library and at the need of the community. And
it looks like it's due to come in January 15th, 2022.
I believe the new application will be due on January 22.
Okay, so Josue, go ahead. You have the floor.
Yeah, I have a question specifically more towards how the pandemic affected our staff during the closure. What difficulties would you say were presented in terms for our staff to be able to work during the pandemic? Like, was there a lack of mobile computers to take home, or no access to internet at home? What were some difficulties and obstacles for staff to work during the pandemic?
I would say the biggest obstacle is, again, the people who cannot do the work from home. Our custodians can't clean the building from home, and customer service and inventory staff who handle the assets, the books, the movies, and the music, they couldn't do. That's the first biggest roadblock we ran into. Second only to the technology constraints. Again, yes, there are certain staff who don't have internet at home. I had a staff member who was using her phone to check her email. She has a cell phone, but no home internet. And so there are a lot of people who, on our staff, who didn't have the technology or don't have technology like they would have in the office. And so we're making attempts to, and have discussed reallocation of funds in our budget to support some of the needs of the staff. And if it's difference between a $30 web camera and a microphone combo that can be mailed to someone's house and then they can be more productive at home, I think it's a worthy expenditure. There is also, and has always been for the past 10 years I've worked in public libraries, a limitation in terms of technological ability. So you can give somebody a fancy computer that does all these fancy things, but if they don't know how to use it, that's another big limitation that may not be seen out front, but I've seen it over the past 10 years working in libraries, and that is that we need to train our staff. And that's why in my email to you, I make a recommendation that we make sure we train these people up who will be providing this service to the public. And it's a challenge. It's going to be difficult, but it's a walk worth walking. And I think that it's a worthy investment to train our staff up to better serve the people of Waukegan.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, John. I asked the question mainly because moving forward, as we, make new purchases of staff resources like computers, we should think about situations like this where they might have to work from home, and so purchasing laptops instead of desktops.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And Gail had a mishap with her work computer. My work computer was the sound wasn't working and various other issues. It was an older laptop. I've got a newer laptop now, and it wasn't super expensive, but it's a worthy investment to invest in our infrastructure, our technology infrastructure. I've had many conversations with Isaac about that very thing. So, pivoting, instead of buying more photocopiers, getting more computers so staff can work from home. And we have a healthy assortment of different technology, Chromebooks, iPads that are just kind of sitting. And so that has been the challenge that we discussed in our leadership and in our services team meetings, is to distribute the technology that we currently do have that's just sitting around. We have 10 Chromebooks in the children's department that were won from a grant a few years ago that could be used. They have cameras and microphones, and they don't do all the same stuff that a fully forged computer will do, but they would do some of the things, and many of the things. You'd be surprised.
That's it for me. Thank you, John.
Thank you. John, thank you very much for your report.
Before I go ahead, I wanted to give some more good news, though, too, real quick. I got an email from Gail reminding me we are the recipients of the Healthcare Foundation in Northern Lake County grant. So we recently received notice that we would receive another $70,000 from the Healthcare Foundation Northern Lake County. We also have another opportunity per capita, but there's this awesome opportunity that Gail has been working on. And in light of the impact that she wrote this, I'm going to read it word for word so I don't mess it up. But COVID-19 is having locally in Lake County. Lake County Health Department wanted to enlist the community in developing solutions. The African American Community Partnership Group, AACPG, along with the Association Comunitaria Latina, ACL, were convened by the Lake County Health Department to lead COVID-19 spread prevention efforts in African American Latino communities in Lake County. Gail Graves, our new assistant director, is the co-facilitator for the AACPG. Manny Hernandez is a member of ACL. And the Lake County Community Foundation has awarded $50,000 grant to the AACCGP and a similar amount to the ACL. The Waukegan Library would be the fiscal agent for the AACPG grant. The funds will allow the group to provide personal protective equipment to both communities, as well as improve COVID-19 spread prevention through outreach, education, and self-care initiatives. This group is also applying for funds through the Lake County CARES Act for additional funding to support the community-based efforts. And this is a great opportunity. We're supporting the efforts to reduce health disparities in our community, and it's important that the library not only serve its patron community, but also as an active part of the community in addressing key issues. And thank you, Gail, for those words. She is awesome, and she will do an outstanding job. This is the glue that the library can become.
And how much was that again, John?
It was a $50,000 grant working with the African American community. And then there is a similar amount that was distributed to the ACL that works with the Latino community in Lake County.
Okay. Anything else?
With that, I will be quiet. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And again, welcome Gail as our assistant director. She's going to do an outstanding job. She's been a consummate professional every moment I've known her, and I really appreciate her guidance and leadership.
Thank you. Thank you. And I wanted to say the same thing, Gail. Thank you so much for accepting that position. And we know that it's a huge position, so thank you again.
Thank you.
At this time, I would like to also thank Mary Stickles and Rochelle Mendez for their service on the board. And I am going to welcome 2 new members at our next board meeting. They will be Martha Padilla and Brian Escobar. So those are the 2 new members that we will have. Let's see, what else did I have? Oh, Deb, could you kind of touch on the status of the executive director search, how we did it the last time?
I sure can. Can you hear me?
I can.
If I may, Sylvia, can I just add one more thing to what John was saying before I go into the status?
Sure.
One of the most positive outcomes, if you will, of our employees working from home has been our increase of professional development. We have had more employees participate in webinars and training over the 3 months than we had all of last year. And we asked them to provide feedback on the training they had and also how they intend to apply it to their job. So that's been very successful. And I'd like to thank John for allowing us to do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
On the status of the executive director search back in 2017, the search started between June and July 2017. John Keister and Associates were chosen as the executive headhunter to conduct the search. And we paid him $10,000 for his services. The first thing that he did was he posted the position on several websites and also spoke to people in person who might have had some interest in the job. He did that for approximately 30 days. After that time, he qualified applicants, and he also advised our WPL staff of the search progress. So he had at least 2 meetings with the staff to keep them apprised of what the progress was in the search. Once the qualified applicants were completed, depending on the number that he had, I believe he had about 7, he pared that down to 4 of the most qualified applicants. Turning the page, it was a 6-month process. Once he did that, I helped him as an HR resource to develop and review the interview questions for the candidates that were chosen to be interviewed. We provided those questions to the board for approval. Once that was done, the board also started the interview process. During that process, we also included a Q&A session for the staff once the board determined who the top 2 candidates would be. In addition to that, we had a social hour for our community stakeholders so that they could give board members feedback on what they felt or who they felt might be the most qualified or the best person for the job. When all of that was said and done, the board got together to make the selection of the new of the new library director. That was done in December of 2017, and the new director came on board in February of 2018. When the selection was made of the new director, the board president immediately called the 2 final candidates to notify them that one was not selected and thank them for their interest, and also notified the candidate who was selected as the new director. As part of that discussion, a copy of the employment agreement for the executive director was forwarded to that person for signature. Once that came back, we then discussed an approximate start date for the new director. When all of that was said and done, Amanda Civitello and I worked together to develop a welcoming process for the new director. So in total, that took approximately 6 months.
Okay. Thank you, Deb.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the process. I mean, not the process that we're going to follow. We need to determine a few things. First of all, a committee, and then whether or not we're going to bring on someone to do this whole search for us. So those are some of the things I'd like for you to start thinking about. At our next meeting, we will move forward with this. And that's my report. So we'll move on to new business. And we need a motion to conduct first of all, a motion to conduct the independent HR research. So let's go with that motion first, and then we'll go to the second part of that. So can I get a motion that we should do an independent HR investigation? So if we don't have a motion, Douglas, correct me if I'm wrong, then we don't need to pursue this, correct?
That would be true. If the board chooses not to hire somebody, we will need to somehow address these allegations. I'm not really sure what the board is looking for. However, I believe, if I can just expand for a moment, I sent you on June 8th an email explaining where this request stems from and why an independent investigation is both, in my view, legally necessary in order to protect the library, as well as to provide an outside perspective on some of the allegations connected with these complaints. So I would, again, strongly encourage the board to hire an outside investigator. I don't believe that this is something that the library's HR department can conduct, not because I don't think Deb would do a good job of it, but because I think that she's potentially seen as too close to the complaints.
A motion to conduct an independent HR investigation and select a vendor.
I will second. I'll second.
Okay, roll call then. So that was Josue and Rochelle.
Yes.
Josue,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Jeannie. Is Jeannie on?
Yes.
Annette,
Aye.
Rochelle.
Aye.
Okay, motion's passed. We will hire an outside, or I'm sorry, we will hire an independent HR investigator, and the selection of the vendor is in the motion also. So that motion carried. So, Douglas,
We all got the information.
I'm sorry, Douglas,
Yes, ma'am.
do we need to do anything else with that?
Yes, I need the board to make the determination which of the three proposals we received should be the one that we move
Does
forward
everybody have
using.
the information from the last meeting in front of them, from the three?
A summary of it was also included in my email on June 8th, if you're in front of your email right now.
Do you have that in front of you?
I can quickly go through those if it would be helpful.
Please.
The first was from HR Source, who's a consultant who works with the library's Human Resources Department. They've got a longstanding relationship with the library. Their proposal was for $185 an hour for an investigation, and then an additional fee on top of that for a written recommendation report from their attorneys. They estimated the total for that would be about $6,600, $6,650. The second was a proposal from the Carroll Keller Group. We came across them as being a highly recommended suburban consulting firm. They specifically are known for their handling of hostile workplace investigations. Their proposal was at variable pricing, but comprehensive, $350 an hour for the investigation, $250 an hour for the written report and recommended actions, and then a flat $700 to meet with the board to summarize their findings. They estimated that it would cost them about $47.50. And finally, there was a proposal from EPS. They're a nationwide HR consulting firm out of Texas. They specialize in investigations according to their response. Their proposal was an investigation at $385 an hour and would include an oral and written report. But they did not provide a total estimate.
Okay, so with that, could I get a motion for the one that you would like to see?
A motion to conduct the independent HR investigation with HR source.
Can I get a second?
Can I get a question?
Well, we have to entertain the
Okay. All right.
motion. So, Jean, that's you?
Yes.
Okay.
I have
All
a
right,
question.
Discussion time, Miss Jean.
Douglas, are those first two companies from the local area?
I believe HR Source is located in Illinois. They are sort of a larger sized HR firm. The Carroll Keller Group is a small local HR investigator.
This
HR
is
firm.
HR Source is located in Downers Grove.
Okay, so let's move forward. Josue? We're voting.
Aye.
Larry?
No.
Jeannie?
I didn't second. I was asking, could I ask a question?
It was already second? Oh, you weren't, well, it has to, you have to put
I
a
understand
second.
that, and we didn't get a second, so I thought you were giving me
Oh.
a chance to ask a question.
I thought you seconded. I'm sorry.
No, I'm
So we have
sorry.
to get back. We need a second before we
I
can.
second that. I second that.
Thank you very much. Okay, Jeannie, you have a question?
He answered my question.
Okay, so now we're voting. Okay, so Jeannie, yes or no?
And that's for the Downers Grove company?
For the HR Source.
Okay, yes.
Annette?
No.
Michelle?
No.
Okay, and I'm saying yes. So that's 1, 2, 3 yeses and 3 nos.
Well, I haven't voted yet.
Who said that?
Larry said that, yeah.
I thought you said no.
No, I don't remember saying anything.
Vote, go ahead.
So I would vote no.
So it's 3 no's and 3 yeses. We have a tie. Douglas? What do we do when there's a tie?
I honestly don't know your bylaws well enough to know what you say.
I can make a motion for another vendor.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you reject that first?
Excuse me, Mary. Josue, would you like to amend your motion?
No.
I think that motion failed because Larry voted no. Those 3 no.
Right, there were 3 no's.
We have 7 in
yeses.
attendance.
I'm sorry, there's Josue voted yes. Larry voted no. Jeannie voted yes. Annette voted no. Rochelle voted no, and I voted yes.
And then Mary?
Because Mary resigned yesterday,
Monday.
okay, Mary does not have a vote. She can be on the,
I can discuss, but I
Yeah.
can't.
right. So there's a 3-3 split.
Can we make a motion then for the second vendor?
Josue, you know what, at this point, we are at a standstill with our vendor.
I'll let someone else make the motion.
Douglas? Your
Sorry,
thoughts?
I'm trying to read the bylaws.
Okay.
I mean, a motion to amend it, if you believe you could get the votes, would still be in order, since this hasn't actually closed yet.
So Josue, could you amend your motion, please?
Excuse me, Sylvia.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Can I get the names of those companies again and where they're located?
So we have HR Source, we have Keller and EPS. And does someone have where they're located? I think Rochelle, did you
Yeah.
get that information? Do you have it in front of you?
No.
HR Sources in Downers Grove.
Uh-huh.
I believe that the Carol Keller group is out of, it's like Crystal
Hold on, I
Lake
have
or
30
something.
seconds.
I'm sorry, Lombard. And then EPS is out of Texas.
I'd like to make a motion that we take the Carol Keller group for our human resource, for our investigation.
I second that.
So that was Jeannie motion, and Annette second. Any discussion? Okay, well then let's go to the vote. Josue,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Jeannie,
Aye.
Yes.
Annette,
Aye.
Michelle,
Yes.
and I'm saying yes too. Okay, so the motion has been carried. And we will go with the Keller group.
Yes.
Okay, so moving right along. Thank you all. That was painless. Announcements, trustee comments. So let's start with Josue.
Yes. Hi. I first of all, I would like to thank Mary Stickles and Rochelle Mendez for their service on the Board of Trustees. Serving on public boards like these is not easy. We know they're time consuming and we're not getting paid. And so this is all service that they gave to our community. And so I want to appreciate them for their service. I know we didn't always agree on everything, but I do appreciate their service to our community. I also want to thank our staff who have been active during the pandemic. I do follow on Facebook everything that's been posted, including singing with Miss Annalisa, and also great job to Manny and Elizabeth who informed our community about the census in Espanol. That was great. I watched that and shared it with several groups I'm in. Also, I've been reaching out to trustees to start putting together a proposal with staff about expanding our homebound delivery. Currently, it only includes people with disabilities. And so I think in our community, there are a lot of obstacles for transportation to get to the library. And so I would like to work with trustees and staff to expand that to be universal to everyone in Waukegan so that we can have delivery and pickup of resources from the library into the library. But I'll be reaching out more to staff and trustees about that so we can start putting together a proposal for the upcoming meeting. Other than that, that's it.
Also, could you announce the next governing committee meeting?
Yes, the next governance committee meeting will be next month. We don't have a date because 2 of our members are going off the board, and so we're going to have new members and we're going to have to schedule new meeting dates, but we'll have that announced pretty soon.
Okay.
I'm still on the board till August.
Mary,
I could attend.
excuse me, Mary.
Listen,
Mary.
Somebody
Mary.
was speaking. I don't want to interrupt anybody.
Ma-
I hear.
I'm sorry, Mary, excuse me. I would like to give you this opportunity to give some comments if you would like.
Thank you. I gave my reservation to the mayor on Monday, knowing that my term was up within the next couple of months. But I wanted to have an opportunity to say thank you. And you've got a lot of work ahead of you. I have a wonderful career with the boards and the directors, and we've seen a lot of wonderful things happen. For that, I'm very proud and very privileged to have served. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you. Larry?
Yes, well, certainly I would like to thank Mary Stickles and I'm trying to figure out and Rochelle. I'm just going blank here. Rochelle Mendez, for all your wonderful service and dedication. These are all volunteer positions, and certainly it's a true public service, and I do thank you so much. The other question, the other concern I had, or just question, that there's a lot of this and that going on right now in our society. I was just curious. We have a number of statues, one big, some smaller, around our library, in front mostly, well, in front. Are these? I'm just curious. Are these covered by any sort of insurance? Are they individually insured, or are they collectively insured, or does it fall under the library's overall insurance policy? Just curious if anyone would know an answer to that.
Hold on with the answer for that. Do you have any other comments before?
No, that's the only other comment I had. Yeah, that one.
Okay. What we'll do is we'll look into it and we'll get back with you, Larry.
Okay.
All right. Jeannie?
I don't have anything to say.
Okay. Annette?
I just want to welcome Gail to the group, and thank you so much for all you guys are doing. Same with John. Thank you for everything that you're stepping up and doing. You're doing an amazing job. And everyone else that's behind the scenes, just thank you. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. And Rochelle?
I am just excited to hear that we're going to be having curbside service. So thank you for John organizing that and the rest of the crew there. I'm sure our community will really look forward to that. Thank you.
Okay. So then at this time, we don't have any public comments. So could I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm
Was
sorry.
there any public comment? Was there a call for public comment?
There are no public comments.
There was a call and there were none as of 4 o'clock.
Thank you.
I second the motion.
Who made the first motion? Who motioned?
Somebody did.
Jean?
Jeannie.